Now, I've tried a lot of discs on this channel, but there is one disc in particular that when I tried it, I immediately knew that it would fit almost perfectly in my game. And ever since trying it, it quickly became my go-to and favorite driver. And that driver is the Crave. Specifically these two Craves, but the Crave in general is probably my favorite driver, and it could fit into a lot of people's games all the way from like beginners to pros. And that's mainly because of its versatility. Take this hole for example. The basket is like way down here and to the right. So you really want to go to this left gap here. And that gap gives you like the best, cleanest shot to the basket. So it's really a forehand hole, except I'm terrible at throwing forehands, so I throw my Crave. This is the understable Crave, and I really just throw a slight hyzer towards that gap, and it really just hyzer flips up, turns right, and just, it never looks back. So, and that always just gives me a clean look at the basket. See, easy birdie. But the bread and butter for most Craves that you pick up is going to be the hyzer flip tunnel shots. With that -1 turn and 1 fade, this is just perfect for just the laser straight shots that you just don't want to go too far right, but you don't want it to fade very much. There's nothing better than the Crave. Then when you get the Crave in something like a Proton plastic, this will be a little bit on the more stable side. Now this is still gonna be a Crave, it's still gonna turn for you, but this one you can really just crank on and trust that it like is gonna give you a touch of turn, but it's not gonna completely like turn over for you. It'll like pop up and hold that straight line. It might deviate a little to the right, but it's basically gonna be fly dead straight and give you a fade at the end. And with that extra stability, this actually makes a really good forehand disc. Now it's obviously not going to control the torque of something like say a Firebird, but this is just a money forehand finesse disc for you. So if you have a cleaner forehand, like today my forehand just felt really good, so I was just lacing this on some lines, and it's just a straighter forehand disc for you, almost like my Buzz, but it's a Fairway, which that's just a good description of the Crave in general. It's almost like a Fairway version of the Buzz. Now obviously the Crave is not a perfect disc. There might be some things about this disc that just turn you away or just make it not for you, which is totally fine. The main one being the feel of this. This is going to be a very shallow disc, just like a lot of MVP's line. It's just this very shallow, great for smaller hands. But if you have a bigger hands, like you might be fine with it. I mean, Simon Lizotte throws this in his bag, and I'm pretty sure he has much bigger hands than I do. But I think the biggest thing that I had to just adjust to was the plus rim. Now I can't for sure say that this has a plus rim, but I'm pretty sure this has that plus rim on it, which if you don't know what a plus rim is, it basically means the inside of the rim here is just slanted outwards a little bit. It initially was for just getting a cleaner release, at least that's what they like marketed it for. It just feels weird for some people, and there's just a lot of discs that have that plus style rim, which plus rim is specific to Innova, that's what they call it, but that's just what I call it on like every company's discs, is like a plus rim. That's what I'm talking about. So if you don't like those kind of rims that slant outwards, those plus rims, then the Crave might not be for you. But for everybody else, like I would recommend a Crave for just about anyone. If you're a beginner, I would lean more towards like the lighter weight fission ones, since the fission ones tend to be a little less overstable. And then for more advanced, or if you're looking for a more stable Crave, go for like a Neutron or the Proton ones. I heard the Cosmic Neutrons are even more overstable, but I've just never tried those. But really quick, we do have some Craves at the website, as well as just a MVP restock in general. So I'll leave the link below in the description in case you're interested in that. It really helps out the channel. But also if you can shape this on like whatever line and like play a 1-disc round with a course with just like a Neutron or a fission Crave, your game would increase immensely. It's one of those types of discs that it's like finesse, you can shape it on so many different lines, and if you learn to shape it on all those lines, your game is just gonna get better. And with all the different plastics of this, there's just so many slots in the bag that you can cover with the Crave. The only thing you're missing really is that more T-Bird-like, slightly overstable Fairway, which I am going to be looking at those that could really just replace that T-Bird slot. And I'll have that right here when that's done. Otherwise, you can check out MVP discs right here, and I'll see you in the next one.